The deep space research vessel Intrepid Resolve drifted through the quiet dark between stars. Its engines hummed like a giant sleeping animal, and its long silver hull glowed faintly under distant starlight. Inside the ship, most people were resting. Only a small team worked the night shift, keeping the systems running, fixing problems before they became real trouble. Marcus Hale walked down one of the metal corridors with a cup of reheated coffee in his hand. He was a human engineer, born on a dusty mining colony where machines broke every 5 minutes. On this ship, things broke less often, but somehow he still ended up fixing everything. He didn't mind. He liked working with his hands, and he liked solving problems no one else could. He checked the screen on the small tablet strapped to his wrist. A red blinking alert appeared. Laboratory 9 minor energy mismatch detected. Quote. Marcus raised an eyebrow. Laboratory 9 was usually empty this time of night. The Cathari scientists, the alien team that worked on organic energy systems, always left hours earlier. They were strict about their working schedule and even more strict about privacy. Marcus took a long sip of his coffee. Probably just a loose cable, he muttered, or a sensor freaking out again. He was not expecting anything strange. He was certainly not expecting what he was about to walk into. The corridor lights flickered softly as he passed, reacting to his movement. The ship was alive in its own quiet way, responding to every footstep, every sound. When Marcus reached the sliding door to Laboratory 9, he noticed something odd. A faint glow leaked out from under the door. Not the cold blue of normal lab lights. This was warm, pulsing, almost alive. It reminded him of the glow from deep-sea creatures he once saw in a documentary. Great, he sighed. Now the lights are broken too. He placed his hand on the panel beside the door. It slid open with a soft hiss, and Marcus stopped dead. The room was filled with floating shapes of golden light. They hung in the air like slow-moving ink in water, twisting and drifting in beautiful, silent patterns. Strange symbols shimmered around them, curved, alive-looking shapes that felt more like growing plants than written letters. In the center of the room stood Lysera, a young Cathari scientist. Her skin was pale silver, marked with faint blue lines that moved like tiny streams under the surface. Her hair, long and weightless, floated around her, as if carried by a soft breeze only she could feel. Her eyes were closed, and her hands were raised in front of her, guiding the floating lights like a conductor controlling a soft, glowing orchestra. Marcus realized instantly what she was doing. A memory ritual. Cathari culture treated memories like sacred places. Some memories were shared. Some were private. Some were deeply private, meant to be seen only in moments of solitude. Marcus had walked straight into one. Lysera's eyes snapped open. The symbols collapsed at once, dropping like sparks falling from a dying flame. The glowing shapes shivered, then cracked into bright shards of light that shot across the room. One of them flew straight toward Marcus and hit him in the forehead with a sharp sting. A burst of color exploded behind his eyes, like someone had thrown a handful of stars into his skull. He stumbled back, gripping the doorframe. Lysera gasped in horror. "No, no, no. You should not have seen that." Her voice trembled with panic. She rushed toward him, her expression wild. "Humans are not meant to view Cathari memory scripts. You could be hurt. Your mind, your vision, your nerves." "I'm fine," Marcus said quickly, though he wasn't sure. His head buzzed like a broken radio. "I thought the lab was empty." The system reported a glitch. Lysera stopped only a few steps away, breathing hard. Her eyes glowed, bright gold with fear or anger, maybe both. "You opened the door," she said softly. "During a private ritual. You witnessed something not meant for anyone outside my lineage." Her shoulders stiffened. "You have broken a rule older than my own planet." Marcus rubbed his forehead. The stinging had faded, but something else had replaced it. An odd warmth behind his eyes. Like a memory that wasn't his was sitting at the edge of his vision. Waiting, he tried to ignore it. "Look, I'm sorry," he said. "I didn't mean to interrupt anything. I thought it was just a power issue." Lysera closed her hands into tight fists. Her voice was quieter now, but still sharp. "You saw the symbols. They touched your mind. The ritual was not complete when you entered. Marcus blinked. Are you saying something got inside my head? Lysera hesitated, then nodded once. Marcus exhaled slowly, trying to keep calm. Okay. Could you maybe explain what exactly that means? Before Lysera could answer, the ship shook. It was gentle at first, like a soft tremor. Then a deep rumble echoed through the floors, walls, and ceiling. The golden remnants of Lysera's ritual lights flickered nervously. Marcus grabbed the edge of a desk. What was that? Asteroid? Lysera shook her head. No. That felt like a spatial distortion. The ship shook again, harder this time enough to rattle the tools on the tables and send a small container rolling across the floor. The lights dimmed for a second, then returned. Marcus slapped his hand against his wrist tablet. Bridge, this is Hale in Lab 9. What's going on? A tense voice replied, Engineer Hale, get to a secure station. Long-range scanners picked up unknown activity. Could be a hostile fleet. Lysera's eyes widened. They found us? Marcus looked at her sharply. Who? Lysera didn't answer. Instead, she moved toward one of the floating consoles and tapped her fingers rapidly across the controls. A long-distance display flickered on the wall, dark space dotted with stars, and then a cluster of sharp, blade-like ships appeared. Marcus felt a chill. That's no trade convoy. Lysera's voice shook. They are hunters, and if they are here, then they must have traced the ritual's signal. Marcus stared at her. You're saying your private memory ritual sent out a signal those ships could track? No, she whispered. They tracked you. Marcus blinked hard. Me? Lysera touched her own forehead lightly, then pointed at his. When the ritual shattered, part of the memory script bonded with your mind. That memory was locked, hidden, secret. Only those seeking it desperately would have sensed the burst when it attached to you. Marcus opened his mouth, closed it, and then opened it again. You're telling me that because I walked in on you, some alien war fleet locked onto my brain? Lysera looked away, ashamed. Yes. Marcus groaned. Great. That's just perfect. The ship shook again, this time with a harder, more violent strike. Somewhere far above them, something boomed. Maybe shields activating. Maybe weapons powering up. Lysera stepped closer to him, her voice softer but urgent. Marcus Hale, you must come with me. Now. Before it is too late. He looked at her, still holding his aching forehead. Can you at least tell me what I've got in my head? Lysera's expression darkened with fear. A memory older than my people. A secret they buried. A truth powerful enough that others would kill for it. Marcus swallowed. Congratulations, Lysera. Your private ritual just made me the universe's worst target. She nodded slowly. And the fleet behind us will not stop until they take what you now carry. Alarms began to howl through the ship. Red lights flashed. A mechanical voice spoke overhead. All personnel to emergency stations. Hostile vessels approaching. Prepare for impact. Lysera grabbed his wrist. Her grip was surprisingly strong. There is no time. You must trust me. Marcus inhaled sharply. He didn't know the full story yet. He didn't know why the memory mattered, why the fleet wanted it, or what danger it truly held. But he knew one thing. He had opened the wrong door, at the worst possible moment, and now everything, his ship, his crew, maybe whole worlds, might be at risk. Okay, he said. Lead the way. Lysera nodded once, then pulled him into the flickering corridor. As the first blasts shook the ship again, the accident was only the beginning. The corridor shook again as Marcus and Lysera ran through it. The red emergency lights flashing in steady, frightening pulses. The ship's alarm blared like a wounded animal, echoing through every hallway and bouncing off every metal surface. Marcus kept close to Lysera as she led him deeper into the research wing. He could hear distant thuds, shields taking hits from enemy weapons. The intrepid Resolve, built for science and exploration, was not a warship. It could defend itself for a short time, but not against a whole hostile fleet. Lysera stopped at a sealed door and pressed her hand against the panel. The scanner flashed violet, recognizing her DNA. The door opened into a circular room filled with glowing spheres, floating displays, and containers marked with alien symbols Marcus couldn't read. "This is the memory chamber," Lysera said. Her voice was low and tight, as if she feared the room itself might listen. "Only authorized Cathari are allowed in here. Please, do not touch anything." Marcus held up both hands. "Trust me. I've touched enough strange glowing things for one night." Lysera didn't smile. She moved toward a platform surrounded by thin, silver cables. They gently writhed, like living vines. "You must sit here," she said. Marcus stared at it. "That looks dangerous. Or very, very uncomfortable." Lysera stepped closer to him. Her expression was serious, but not unkind. "Marcus Hale, the memory fragment inside you is unstable. If we do not access it soon, it could harm you. It was never meant for a human mind." He hesitated, then walked toward the platform. "All right. Tell me what I need to do." Lysera nodded gratefully as he sat down. The cables lifted and hovered close to him, like curious animals sniffing a stranger. Lysera placed her hands on two crystalline controls and closed her eyes. The room dimmed. The floating displays rearranged themselves, forming a circle around Marcus. A soft hum filled the air. Marcus took a deep breath. "Okay, I'm ready." Lysera opened her eyes. They glowed faint gold. "Marcus, what I am about to do has never been done before between a human and a Cathari. There may be pain, or confusion, or visions. If you feel overwhelmed, tell me." Marcus gripped the edge of the seat. "Let's just get it over with." Lysera exhaled slowly and activated the machine. A wave of warm light swept over Marcus's head. For a moment everything blurred. Shapes moved at the corners of his vision. Distant voices murmured in a language he did not know. His heartbeat thundered in his chest. Then, he wasn't in the memory chamber anymore. He stood on a vast, empty plain beneath a shimmering lavender sky. The ground was smooth like polished stone. Strange towers rose in the distance, tall, curved, plant-like structures that glowed softly. Where am I?" Marcus whispered. A voice spoke behind him. "You are inside the memory." Marcus turned around. Lysera stood a few feet away, glowing faintly like the world around her. Her presence looked both real and unreal. "This is the ancestral memory my people locked away," she said. "The same one you accidentally entered when the ritual broke." "So I actually saw something?" Marcus asked. Lysera nodded. "Yes, and now we will see it together." The sky darkened. A low rumble spread across the plain. Marcus steadied himself as the ground vibrated. Then an image appeared in the air, a giant sphere of shining metal. It rotated slowly, glowing with energy. Streams of light flowed from it like rivers. Marcus frowned. "What is that? A weapon?" Lysera stepped close to the image. "No. Many believed it was. For generations, our leaders hid the truth even from our own people." She touched the floating sphere, and the light around it grew brighter. "This is the Astra seed," she said. "A machine that can restore dead worlds, bring back soil, water, life. It can reshape a planet's surface, heal its atmosphere, and make it livable again." Marcus stared. "That's incredible." Lysera's voice darkened. "But many feared its power. Some used it for destructive experiments. Wars began. Entire star systems fought over control of the Astra seed. My ancestors decided to hide it forever, and sealed the memory of its location deep within our minds. And now," Marcus said slowly, "that memory is in my head." Lysera met his eyes. "Yes, and the hostile fleet wants it. They are not explorers. They are conquerors. They want the Astra seed not to heal worlds, but to remake them for their own empire." The sky shook again, turning red this time. Marcus felt a sudden jolt in his chest and gasped. Lysera's eyes widened. "Marcus, the ship is being hit. We must end the memory view." The plane dissolved. The sky split apart. The memory collapsed like shattering glass. Then Marcus snapped back into the real world, gasping for air. He blinked against the bright lights of the memory chamber. His hands trembled. Lysera steadied him. "Marcus, are you all right?" He swallowed hard. "Yeah, just feels like someone downloaded a planet into my brain." Lysera looked at him with concern. "You handled it better than I expected. Humans are strange, resilient. Your minds adapt quickly." Marcus rubbed his face. "So they're tracking me because I know the seed's location?" "Yes," Lysera said, "and they will stop at nothing to take it from you." Another explosion shook the ship. This time the lights flickered, then dimmed. Distant metal groaned. Marcus stood up. "Okay. Then, we need a plan. Fast." Lysera nodded and moved toward a control screen. "We must go to the command deck. The captain needs to know what you saw, and we must protect the knowledge inside your mind." Marcus followed her, but paused. "Lysera, why didn't your people destroy the seed if it was so dangerous?" She hesitated at the door. "Because it was created for hope. Destroying it felt like destroying a future we might one day need." Marcus nodded slowly. "Then maybe that future is now." The alarm voice echoed overhead again. "Enemy ships closing in. All personnel prepare for boarding." Marcus felt a chill. "Boarding? They're coming inside?" Lysera answered quietly. "They want you alive. They want what is in your memory." Marcus clenched his fists. "Well, they're not getting it." They ran out of the memory chamber and into the corridor. Crew members rushed past them, humans and Cathari alike, heading to defensive stations. The ship trembled under another impact. "Command deck is this way," Lysera said, pointing down a long hallway. Before they made it halfway, the lights turned blood red. A new warning blared through the ship. "Hull breach detected. Enemy boarding craft attached." Marcus and Lysera stopped at the same time. The air felt colder. The metal beneath their feet vibrated in a slow, heavy rhythm, like footsteps from something large moving toward them. Lysera whispered. "They're here." Marcus took a deep breath. He didn't have a weapon, or armor, or training for situations like this, but he had something the enemy wanted and he wasn't planning to hand it over. He looked at Lysera. "We can still reach the bridge, right?" Lysera nodded, fear and determination mixing in her glowing eyes. "Yes, but we must avoid the invaders." "Then let's move," Marcus said. They sprinted down the corridor as the sound of metallic boots echoed behind them, slow, steady, and getting closer. Marcus wasn't sure what waited ahead, but he knew one thing. The accident that started all of this was no longer the problem. The secret inside his mind was, and now the whole universe knew it. Marcus and Lysera ran through the shaking corridor, their footsteps echoing under the red emergency lights. Every few seconds, a distant boom shook the metal floors as the enemy fleet continued to fire on the intrepid Resolve. The ship's hull groaned like it was struggling to stay alive. Behind them, the heavy sound of metallic boots grew louder. The enemy boarding team had entered the ship and was moving quickly. Lysera pressed her hand to the wall panel, scanning for the fastest route. The holographic map flickered. "The bridge is 3 levels up. Cargo lift A is the closest." Marcus nodded. "Then that's where we go." They turned the corner but froze. 2 figures in dark armored suits stood at the far end of the corridor. Their helmets were sharp and angular, glowing with narrow red lines. They carried shock rifles, long and deadly looking, humming with energy. These were the hunters. The nearest one raised his weapon. Lysera whispered sharply, "Down." Marcus dropped instantly. A blast of blue energy shot past where his chest had been a second earlier. The bolt slammed into the wall and exploded in a flash of sparks. Marcus crawled back behind a support beam. "Okay, this is bad." Lysera grabbed his arm. "This way." She dragged him through a maintenance hatch. The narrow space behind it smelled like oil and overheated wires. They rushed through the cramped passage, hearing the hunters firing behind them. Another blast hit the wall, close enough to heat Marcus's hair. He swallowed hard. "These guys do not like knocking first." Lysera didn't laugh. Her voice stayed tense. "They are trained to capture, not talk." They rushed through the end of the maintenance tunnel and burst into a larger hallway. In the center stood Cargo Lift A, a large circular platform with metal railings and a glowing energy field. 2 human crew members guarded it with rifles. One of them, Officer Juno, turned toward them. "Lysera, Hale, get on now." Marcus and Lysera ran onto the lift. Juno slammed her hand on the controls. The lift shot upward, climbing through the ship's center like a rising elevator. Marcus rested his hands on the railing, catching his breath. "Thank you. We were almost cooked." Juno narrowed her eyes. "What's going on? Why are the hunters after you?" Lysera exchanged a quick glance with Marcus, then said softly, "They want what is inside his mind." Juno looked at Marcus with wide eyes. "Inside your what?" Marcus sighed. "Long story. Very long story." Before Juno could ask more, a loud bang shook the lift. A glowing blue blade pierced through the side of the elevator shaft. Marcus stared. That's not supposed to happen." A hunter leaped onto the lift from the open shaft wall, landing in a crouch. His armor glowed like heated metal. The energy blade extended from his wrist, humming dangerously. Lysera gasped. "He followed us up the shaft." Marcus stepped back instinctively. Juno aimed her rifle and fired several rounds. The hunter blocked them with his blade, sparks flying. He raised the weapon toward Marcus. Lysera reacted instantly. She stepped in front of Marcus and extended both hands. Blue energy burst from her palms, forming a shimmering barrier. The hunter's blade crashed against the shield with a loud crack. Marcus stared in shock. "You could do that the whole time?" Lysera strained under the pressure. "It is hard to control without preparation." The hunter pushed harder, cracks forming in the barrier. Marcus grabbed a loose metal bar from the lift's railing, one that had been knocked loose by the blade strike. He rushed forward and swung it at the hunter's helmet with all his strength. The impact rang through the metal shaft. The hunter staggered backward, the blade flickering. Lysera dropped to one knee, exhausted from holding the shield. Juno fired again, this time hitting the hunter's leg. Sparks flew. The hunter slipped, lost his balance, and fell backward off the lift platform. Marcus watched him fall down the dark shaft until he vanished from sight. He let out a shaky breath. "I really hope he doesn't climb back up." Lysera slowly stood. "He will not. That fall could disable even his armor." The lift finally reached the upper level. The doors opened with a hiss, revealing the command deck, a wide, circular room filled with screens, officers, and a large holographic display of the enemy fleet. Captain Rourke, a tall, gray-haired woman with a stern face, turned sharply as they entered. "Hail. Lysera. Explain." Now, Marcus and Lysera quickly stepped forward. Marcus felt dozens of eyes on him. Lysera bowed her head slightly. "Captain, the enemy is here for Marcus. He accidentally merged with a memory script during my ritual. The memory contains the location of the Astra seed." The room fell silent. Captain Rourke's eyes hardened. "The world-shaping machine your people sealed away?" Lysera nodded. "Yes." Marcus stepped forward. "They want it, and they'll tear this ship apart to get it." Rourke crossed her arms. "Can you access the location?" Lysera shook her head. "Not fully. The memory is incomplete and unstable. It must be decoded." Marcus spoke softly. "We need a safe place to finish what we started in the memory chamber." Rourke tapped her console. A star map appeared, showing a dead gray moon nearby. "We can hide behind this moon and buy you time." Lysera stared at the moon. "A dead world. No atmosphere. No life." Marcus squinted at the hollow surface. Something clicked in his mind, like a puzzle piece sliding into place. "Wait, what if we don't hide?" Rourke raised an eyebrow. "What are you suggesting, Hale?" Marcus pointed at the moon. "We use the Astra seed." Lysera's eyes widened. "Marcus, we do not have the seed. We only know its location." Marcus shook his head. "No, listen. The map inside me, it showed more than a location. I saw activation patterns, energy flows, control sequences." Lysera stared at him. You Memorize that? Marcus shrugged. Hey. Humans are good at grabbing the important parts of things we don't understand. Rourke stepped forward. Explain your idea. Marcus pointed at the hologram. That moon is empty, right? So what if we use the seed's activation patterns to reshape it into something else? Lysera frowned. Reshape it? How? Marcus smiled, an idea forming. Wild and risky. Very human. Turn it into a trap. A gravity trap. Make it pull the enemy ships inward. Hard. Not enough to kill them. Just enough to stop them from chasing us. The command deck fell silent again. Juno whispered, That's insane. Rourke stared at Marcus for a long moment. Then she said, Insane ideas have saved human lives before. Lysera looked conflicted. Marcus, using the seed without the seed is impossible. Marcus shook his head. No. Not impossible. Just difficult. Which means we humans can do it. Rourke turned to her officers. Prepare a course toward the dead moon. Put all power to shields and engines. The crew rushed to obey. Lysera stepped close to Marcus. If we do this, Marcus, the memory inside you may fully awaken. You may feel pain, confusion, or worse. Marcus looked at her calmly. Then stay with me and help me through it. Lysera held his gaze, then nodded. I will. The ship turned sharply, engines roaring. The holographic map shifted as they approached the gray moon. Enemy ships followed, firing continually. Rourke shouted, Impact shields to maximum. Prepare the seed pattern relay. Marcus took a deep breath. Lysera. Let's do this. She touched his forehead, activating the memory link again. The world blurred. The command deck disappeared. Marcus and Lysera stood together in a sea of swirling light, the heart of the Astra seed's ancient knowledge. Strange symbols moved around them like living stars. Lysera whispered, Marcus, guide me. Show me what you saw. He raised his hand. The symbols responded. Patterns connected. Energy streams aligned. Together, human and Cathari formed a unity that no one had attempted before. Outside, the ship approached the moon. Inside, Marcus and Lysera activated something never meant to be touched by human hands. The moon began to move, and the enemy fleet had no idea what was coming. In the heart of the swirling memory light, Marcus felt weightless. The glowing symbols around him spun like stars pulled into a strange orbit. Lysera stood beside him, her silver hair floating like she was underwater. Her eyes glowed with the same golden warmth as the memory space. It's responding to you, Lysera said softly. The Astra seed's patterns recognize you now. Marcus swallowed. Yeah, that's cool and terrifying at the same time. Outside this memory world on the real command deck, the intrepid Resolve was flying at full speed toward the dead gray moon. The enemy fleet followed like a pack of hungry predators, but inside Marcus's mind, the two of them worked together. Lysera pointed at a cluster of shifting lights. These patterns, they are the seed's power sequences. I only ever saw a few of them before. But with you, Marcus nodded. They're clearer now. He reached out his hand. A line of glowing streams bent toward him like metal pulled by a magnet. They connected, forming a shape, an energy circuit. Lysera gasped softly. That is the moon reshaping command. Marcus blinked. Seriously? That easy? Lysera shook her head. No. It should be impossible. The seed only answers those who carry ancestral blood. But somehow... Marcus laughed nervously. Well, maybe it thinks I'm stubborn enough to qualify. Lysera touched the circuit, examining it. This will reshape the moon. But not like the original seed would. Without the seed's physical core, the energy must come from somewhere. Marcus frowned. Where? Lysera looked up at him. From you and me? Before he could respond, the memory space rippled like water struck by a stone. A distant echo reached them, a loud rumbling. The real world was calling them back. Lysera's face tightened. The ship. We're arriving. The memory light shattered like glass. In an instant, Marcus and Lysera snapped back into their bodies on the command deck. Captain Rourke stood over them. "We're here." The holographic map showed the dead moon filling the screen, a barren, cracked surface with no atmosphere, no life. Just a cold, gray stone, drifting silently in space. The enemy fleet was right behind them. Their ships moved fast, sharp, and deadly. Glowing with weapon energy, Rourke pointed at the moon. "Hail, Lysera. Whatever you're going to do it now." Marcus stumbled slightly as he stood. Lysera steadied him. The memory link had drained both of them, but there was no time to rest. Lysera placed her hand on the console. "We must link the seed pattern to the ship's energy grid." Rourke raised an eyebrow. "Can that even be done?" Marcus exhaled. "It has to be, or we're dead." Lysera nodded. "Captain, channel all auxiliary power to the relay array. Then fire it into the moon." Rourke didn't hesitate. "Do it." Officers rushed across the deck, flipping switches, typing commands. Energy meters climbed dangerously high. The ship trembled. The engines screamed. Marcus placed his hand on the console beside Lysera. "Okay, let's do this." Lysera closed her eyes. "I will guide the energy. You hold the pattern steady." Marcus focused. The memory inside his mind lit up again, symbols rushing through him like electricity flowing through wires. His vision blurred, colors flashing. Lysera whispered, "Now." The intrepid resolve fired a massive beam of pure energy at the moon. At first, nothing happened. The moon stayed still and cold. Then, the surface cracked. A deep glowing line spread across it like a burning river. Another line followed. And another. The cracks connected, forming a huge glowing pattern across the dead surface. Marcus felt the energy racing through him. His muscles shook. His mind burned like someone had poured light into his skull. Lysera placed both hands on his shoulders. "Hold on, Marcus. Just a little longer." Rourke stared at the moon in awe. What in the world? The moon began to change. Its surface shifted, grinding and folding like living rock. Massive chunks rose and fell. Gravity waves rippled outward. One of the officers shouted, "Captain, the moon's gravitational pull is increasing." Rourke's eyes widened. Exactly what we needed. Behind them, the enemy fleet approached fast, firing again at the ship. Blue beams struck the Resolve, shaking it violently. "Shields at 20%, someone yelled. Lysera gasped and tightened her grip on Marcus. "Marcus, they are too close. If they fire again." Marcus clenched his teeth. "Then we'll finish this before they can." He pushed the patterns harder. Light burst from his fingertips into the console. His heartbeat thundered. His vision dimmed. Lysera pressed her forehead against his. "Stay with me. Do not fade," Marcus whispered. "I'm not going anywhere." The moon roared. A massive gravitational surge exploded outward like a tidal wave. The enemy ships didn't stand a chance. The first wave hit them, pulling them off course. Their engines strained, fighting against the sudden force. One of the hunters' ships lurched sideways, spinning uncontrollably. Another crashed into its companion. The whole fleet scattered into disorder. Lysera whispered, almost amazed. It worked. Marcus's knees buckled. Lysera caught him before he fell. Rourke shouted, "Pull back! Get us away from the moon before the gravity shifts." The intrepid Resolve turned sharply, engines roaring at maximum power. The ship shook as it fought the moon's growing pull, but inch by inch, it escaped. Behind them, the enemy fleet struggled against the gravity trap, unable to chase. Marcus fell to the floor, breathing hard. His vision flickered like a broken screen. Lysera knelt beside him, touching his cheek. "Marcus, look at me." He forced a weak smile. "Hey, we did it." Lysera looked relieved and worried. "You poured too much energy into the seed pattern. Your mind is tired." He laughed softly. "Feels like someone ran a starship through my brain." Lysera squeezed his hand. "Humans are unbelievable." Rourke approached them. Her stern expression softened for the first time. "Hail, Whatever madness was in your head, it saved all of us. Marcus tried to sit up. We didn't kill them. We just stopped them. Rourke nodded. A smart solution. Very human. Lysera smiled gently. Very, Marcus. The ship moved into safe space, far from the moon. Medical officers rushed in, lifting Marcus onto a stretcher. Lysera walked beside him, refusing to leave his side. Marcus looked at her with tired eyes. So? What now? Lysera took a slow breath. Now, we protect the Astra seed's truth. The memory inside you must be safely sealed. Marcus nodded. And you'll help me do that? And you'll help me do that? Her expression softened. Always. He closed his eyes, comforted by her voice. As the lights above him faded into a warm blur, one thought settled firmly in his mind. They had pulled off something impossible again. Not with ancient machines, not with perfect plans, not with alien technology, but with something older and stronger. Human stubbornness, human courage, human hope. Marcus smiled faintly. Sometimes, humans didn't need miracles. Sometimes they made them.